And this is a revolutionized lecture because I'm unplugged, no PowerPoint, because I don't have the time to discuss about it. So revolutionize the art idea. So my data, well, you can see on the cloud. Yeah? Or imagine that some cloud is also cover all the data. So the professional development is essential to any kind of professions, and not essential in library science. So also our library science is the user-centered profession. So we need to maintain our profession ongoing. If not, we will go down by the public use or by the public's opinion or perception. Today, the libraries and others, our profession is changing a lot because contents, services, approaches are totally changed from last 1 decade ago. So library materials, services, and trends change a lot. So we need to change to keep our profession alive or develop to the right track. Let me quote my experience. This is my experience in Myanmar. By 1971, I had no knowledge of library science. I don't know about the library science, but in 1971, I joined Yangon University to attend the postgraduate diploma. My first degree was a BA and a degree. Our university at that time is practice communist system, English, philosophy, psychology, and Burmese literature is my combination. After that, I joined in 1971 to the postgraduate diploma course in Yangon University. At that time, the diploma course, library course was open on part-time basis. After graduation in 1973, in 1974, I served as assistant librarian at Morning University. That is 200 miles south from Rangoon. It's very close to Madinunga. At there, when I was working in the first time at the government service as a librarian, as far as I know, I see that most students and teachers regarded librarians not the same as teachers of the faculty members. You might be there. Librarian teachers and the faculty teachers, from the students' point of view and teachers' point of view, they are not the same as librarian and the teachers. We are a little lower than the faculty member. So, few students come to our library. It is because of the teaching methodology. Because teaching methodology is rote learning, so the teachers give lecture in the class and they don't need to go to library. But now it changed a little. So at the time when I was working in a library, a few students came to library to study or to take lectures. But when I was working there, I promote myself and I open up the shop, and also I organize students to join not only reading the textbook, but you can browse any other area. So year by year, a student is increasing. Even today, the perception by the student and the teacher on librarian is a little, we are lower than the degree staff. So, engagement PowerPoint. So to sustain the professional development, we need to evaluate the following steps. For my idea, if we want to sustain the professional development of status, we need to maintain quality service, enrich or outreach, and capability of the staff, even staff for the librarian or library teachers, and also continuation of the staff education. We don't stop like it in Mount Emmy, or you have to continue to master degree, and then further research, and further PhD degree. Continuation of the staff education. And another point is user response. We must study from the aspect of the teaching or from the aspect of the library. We must study the user response. Every time we must study the response. It's very important to enhance our services. So another means is the public perception. We also care about the public perception too. Then, if our library or, for example, your library has not enough contents, no one will be interested in your coming to library because every left of everything, and then no one is not interested in coming to you. And another point is library job opening or library job opportunity. If library job opportunity is available, and then more people are interested in coming to study library science. After the degree, I have no job, and then no hopes, and no one was interested in the profession. So, to solve the low perception from the other people or from the public, we have to renovate low range of salary and try to increase the salary, and also we have to care about the awareness of the importance of library by gaming atmosphere, which means we are marketing our library services, and also we should open our job opportunity for the new graduates. So this is we are some kind of the problem solving. So let me put another experience of me. When I was in Morning, one of my colleagues, when I was visited from Hawaii, he asked me a question, very silly question. How did you need to study LIS and abroad? So this question made me amazing. Even he was a serviceman in the academic library, not academic in the university. He asked the silly question, how did I need to study LIS abroad? So this question is very short, but I have yet I have more time to answer to it, and I have to give more time to understand his questions, because I have explained about the poses and also functional library to them. This is a silly question I have ever had in my life. So the professional development is a very this is the very high profile in our library profession. Is cover everything from the library function to the teaching in university and colleges. So let me clarify some issue I have put up. First, quality services, enrich or outreach. To solve the problem, we must promote the user's perception and satisfaction best served in a short time. And second, capability. We must have capability. To get the capability, we should decrease or increase the library profession. the good capability increased the library provision, and bad capability was decreased the library provision to go to the those stages. So, to this capability increasing, staff education and skillfulness should be extended. But that suggests users' comments from the aspect of the teaching or from the aspect of the library services. Users' comments is usually support the provision. So we must hear or we must find out what people are talking about our provision or our teaching. So we public awareness, we try to get the public awareness which is needed to check every now and then. The third one is library installation or content or must be comprehensive to meet the user's needs. This is for library. So in the same way, in the teaching profession, we have the very strong faculty members to teach the new students to push into the profession. Another one is job opening. And even the library or in the teaching area, job opening opportunities should be created. So it's a major demand to attract the potential newcomers and students. So this is my few ideas. So the same like with Professor Stan, I would like to hear from your issues and answer and also comment whatever you have share within this big session. So I give the floor to you all. What about ASEAN? Yeah, I know your name, so I name it so sorry. So sorry, not embarrassed. Okay, any comment?
Okay, I'll go first.
Welcome.
Okay, I guess professional development, to wear my cataloger's hat, there are two types, right? One is the basic training in library school to get their basic professional qualification, and the other is continuing professional development, right? I just have a brief comment on continuing professional development. This is a major concern in Singapore, and actually the Library Association has some kind of points in our system that you need to attend certain number of seminars, and then you get certain points, and then you have accumulated enough points, then you get some kind of certificate, you have to certify that you have been updating yourself. So of course, since the librarians are chasing after points, they come to us, to the library school, to offer continuing education courses. And I think you can guess what our response is. Our response is that we have no time for this. We are doing research. So this is the same, these librarians are getting tired of me, Whatever question they ask me, I give the same answer. I said, you got to do it yourself. You've got to develop your own continuing education courses. You need to develop your own librarians to have the confidence to run training courses, to run workshops, and we will help you, right? We will help you. We will collaborate with you in research to build you up, show you how to do it. Similarly, with continuing education, we will work with you. I mean, for us professors, I tell them, when I'm teaching a new subject, I learn the subject today, and I teach it tomorrow. For your library, okay, you learn it this week and you teach it next week. But we will work together with you, to mount the course, for the first and second time. Then after that, you can run it yourself, right? So, and because now in library school, it will be to ensure our survival, as Professor Sugim also has indicated, we need to do world-class research, we need to do interdisciplinary, so we are too busy, we don't have actually time to do this continuing education. But the librarians that help themselves, but we will work with them.
Thank you for your comments. And actually in our Myanmar, our also our library school a little far from the university library. So doing research is a little difficult because some librarians they don't understand what we are doing. But for our senior professor, all librarians are and assistant librarians are our students, old students. So it is very easy. But it's not easy for the contemporary librarian and the contemporary teachers. It's not easy. Their relation is a little strange, not inspiring teaching. But okay, we do that kind of the research, and also we have collaboration by the MLA, Myanmar Association, we do workshop, and also entire lecture from the foreign scholar, and also even in the local scholars, the lectures.
Can I say?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I myself, as a practicing librarian in the past, in India, I would like to share the Indian experience of practicing librarians and professional development. In fact, the University Grants Commission, which is the funding agency for the universities in India, have certain kinds of guidelines set up for the librarians to undergo the professional development as a continuous process. There are, as of now, about 35 academic staff colleges are established in different parts of the country, wherein the assistant librarians, the deputy librarians, assistant professors, and the associate professors have to attend these training programs to upgrade their knowledge. And they have to invariably attend a 4-week program twice a year. No, I'm sorry, twice in 2 years. That's once a year. And normally they are conducted in different timings in a year. That is a platform where the librarians and even the teachers, practicing librarians and the teachers, have to go there to have the latest developments which are happening in the profession to understand. And many of the subject experts from the teaching, from the practicing librarians, who have knowledge and skills, would come there to deliver lectures and also participate in some hands-on experience in the labs which are attached to these colleges. That's one. And that also is necessary for you to get evaluated to get a higher position as part of one of the criteria to evaluate. And that's a continuous education program for us. I agree with Chris that the librarians get training programs, basic training from the library schools, and it is for the librarians to develop on their own. And that's one practice because most of the practicing librarians do, during their career, come up with lots of problem areas to sort out. And those problems are quite typical to, of course, different libraries too. And they can be research problems as well. And in India, some of these problems are projected as a paper at the conferences. And you will be surprised that every month there is an international conference in India in library information science. And apart from that, there are national conferences and local conferences. Because we have huge number of library and information science professionals across. It's a huge country as well. So that's the forum where most of the librarians present their papers, and these are most of the practicing librarians, from assistant librarians librarians, and they do share their problem-solving skills and how they sorted out the problems, and they try to present that as part of the conferences and seminars and workshops. And due to surprise, the number of teachers who organize conferences and seminars are so less, but number of conferences and seminars organized by the practicing librarians are more. And that's where even the teachers come and participate. This is, of course, typical situation. I don't expect that it would be happening in all around the other countries, but I just want to share this. This gives a platform where the professional librarians meet and discuss and share interactions. And there are various ways we try to sort out our problem solving in our own library situations. There may be a typical problem in a library. This, if it is shared, maybe the other libraries will be able to get the benefit of understanding why it happened. And as Chris has also mentioned, that whatever the research which is done by the librarians, and we do have funding for research, and I myself have done about 6 major research projects with the funding from the government of India. Because we have funding from the Indian Council of Social Science Research, there is a funding body for social science research, there is the Indian Council of Humanities Research, there is a humanities research component, fund is separate, and there is a science and technology funding is separate. There is no competition in between the science and technology, in between the science and the humanities, science and social sciences. It's for you to develop the project proposal and get the funding. Whether you are a teacher or a practicing librarian, it depends upon your project proposal, how you write, and what kind of funding you get. And most of the teachers get this funding and also use it to support the research scholars. The research scholars are getting research assistants, some kind of a payment to them, so that they will also participate in that particular project. So we do that, and even the practicing librarians have the provision to appoint research associates or research assistants to maybe collecting data or analyzing data or some of those areas. So what I'm trying to say is there is a lot of activity which happens because I told you that there are 200,000 libraries in India. And you can imagine that an average, at least 5-6 library staff in this. And in my own library, we have 70 staff members in the university. And they're all trained graduates in library and information science. And no one can work in a library without library qualifications. It's a law in India. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thanks so much for the remark. A very comprehensive suggestion for the Indian experience.
Professor.
Yeah, that's your time.
Okay. Actually, when you first called my name, I really am prepared to share already, but I just want Chris to say his piece first because I want to listen to what he's going to his opinion on what I'm going to say. Okay. Well, it's a good thing that you mentioned it about the continuing professional education credit units requirement in Singapore because during the Council 14 in Hanoi, that was the paper that I presented on continuing professional education in our country, how we more or less require our professionals to develop themselves. Because it's not only for library or information professionals that this is being mandated, but for the other professions as well. Okay, lawyers, doctors, they have to earn certain credit units in order to, or before they continue their license to practice. Okay, because we belong to the 46 professions that are being mandated or regulated by the Professional Regulation Commission. So we have to have our license renewed every now and then so that we will be able to practice our profession. Okay? So one of the requirements is for us to earn credit units. And for library professionals, we're able to develop this matrix. Actually, it's a uniform matrix for all types of professions. And for professionals, different kinds of professional development is given a particular unit, not just for library associations to conduct seminars or conferences, but also for the professional who can deliver talks or papers or who can write books. Those have corresponding units as well. And even for researchers or for those who serve as thesis advisors, all of those professional activities are given corresponding credit units as sort of professional development.
Thank you so much for your complete advice. Okay.
Yes, I'm not surprised for Singapore and Philippines and India because your library association is very strong, and especially for India, you have the law to support that. But unfortunately for Thailand, I don't talk about it. And last month I see the television program about the ASEAN. It's very interesting for Singapore. They show the program is the people is waiting for the library open. It's the queue is very long line, but in Thailand it's not. So we try to make the professional in library to outstanding for us, for the library. And for example, in my university, we encourage the librarian to do the research by themselves. We call R2R. This means the routine to the research. They use the work, in the routine work, and they apply to the research, and we have a small fund for them. It's just, I think it's just a field to solve this problem, but it's not all the country. So we must try to outstanding for the library, for the library association, and to push the law for the library. I don't know the future, the next 10 years or 20 years, the professor should be much to support this.
Thank you so much for your contribution. In the same situation in Myanmar too, we don't have the library law yet, but we are just finished draft. Very soon we are submitted to the parliament. Maybe within this year, there will be library act will be come up. Okay, sir.
I would like to share my experience, what I do my efforts to improve the public libraries and the teachers and the school libraries. Yeah, even I might work for public library or school library. I think we cannot just stay and sit. Wait and sit. I think I dare to do. I dare to speak aloud. I dare to speak, to join with other peers and speak aloud to the public, to the government. And then something changed. I write a proposal for public libraries and for the government. And our government really allocate big budget to change the public libraries. And now I persuade the government to improve the school libraries. And then let's start the teacher library system. So I think we can just wait and see somebody change the situation for us. We have to change it. I join with the press, the journalism, and the other television, anything. We are a free society. We also have to do something. Yeah, write the proposal, write the press to publish on the newspaper, and write letter to the government. And I think, yeah, the situation will change. So I think the public library now, the direction now has good, position, has good, level, I think, in the society. And that also promote the LIS, school, library school. And I also joined to other departments, not just the direction. For example, the e-publishing, the e-learning, or digital content. So I joined the economic department of government, economic department, and I think they also think they should invite professors from library science for e-learning, for e-publishing, or for digital content, because we dare to change. So I think nothing cannot be changed. However, we must do something. Yeah, that's my experience. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your experience in Taiwan. And also, we have the same kind of the public activities in Myanmar too. In a big city, every ward in the big village, we have some kind of the small public library is funded by the government, and also TV, and also some journal and some books are also already provided. But all over the whole country, we have about 3,000 public libraries, but not very big. It is funded partly by government and partly by the donor. We also have. But World Access Library in Myanmar is a 10th library. They are well established, and also some kind of library in Information Ministry, under Ministry of Information, also Ministry of Culture. Our National Library was under Ministry of Culture. Some very true library, academic library, maybe we have about 47 university and colleges, and one national library, two national libraries, one in Naypyidaw, one in Yangon, and other big public library in Yangon is also well established. The other one is, I think, there some kind of weaknesses in budget measure or professional, semi-professional figure library and working there. Okay, any more? Hello, someone, my friend.
You are looking at your friend.
Okay. Friend later.
That's not nice. Okay, never mind. I was trying to, looking at all the experiences of the professor. For in Malaysia also, it's mandatory for for everyone to be given training for 42 hours or 7 days a year. So sometimes they do look at, so just as we say in India, we do have, conferences, workshops, in order for them to get training. To feel that 7 hours a day, it's not, there's something wrong with your evaluation, you don't have enough training, and only the person is in trouble, the bosses are also in trouble, because you need to update yourself, even the profession, so you have to find something. So, well, the library school and also the library association, we will say we do programs, in order to do this professional training. But sometimes, the problem is that we cannot meet, the needs and demands, because it's so very, because we have more than, I think, 1,000 plus 2,000 librarians working librarians. Even the university, the public university itself, they have between 800 to 900 professional librarians. So I think what we can do here is finally come up with something whereby to help each other to do this training. Look, I say, all this time when you pass by the nation, call me and tell me that you can arrange something which is possible against professional development training. So I think that
back then I think, we should have a database whereby what are the expertise from different countries, so that we can tap all the resources, because one day training is one thing, the other thing is the cost. Again, it's also another factor. For example, the Library Association is trying to arrange, we used to arrange attachment to Australia. Although the Australians were sometimes they be, especially the Caucasians, they don't understand how Asians behave. I remember when I want to send my students, I said, never mind, we put them, two to a room. So there is different way. We're supposed to have, a room for themselves. And this is they say, oh, never mind, they can just stay three to a room. And, it's a different culture and so on and so forth. And I think if we have many traditions like school whereby you have accommodation and what, things can bring help to bring down the cost actually, and bring down some experts, because really we don't develop our people, our librarians, our professors, our lecturers, then how can we continue to be better and to be a good public servant to our citizens? And I agree so much with Professor George that we have to actually speak out. Which in some places it is also getting more enemies. Like me, I'm very famous in some meetings, so I open my mouth so much. And you say, wow, this professor got so many things to say. So, but I think that is life. I think it is normal, right? It's very, very normal. But I believe that we can put ourselves together and get that life. And I think help each other grow in global world, global society. Thank you.
Thanks so much for helping together, working together. Okay, let's proceed.
So let me introduce some of my Japanese experience. So from blah. So 2 years ago, I was organizing the discussion team under the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication, and the topic was digital archives for library archives and museums, and also for the e-publishing. So, of course, the digital archives and libraries, archives, museums was a central topic, and we hoped the engagement in the discussion from the public library people. And so we had some representatives from that community. But all of us knew that they have a quite serious human resource problems. So generally speaking, as I mentioned in my talk yesterday, there are more than 3,000 public libraries in 4 Japan, but mostly they are small. And they don't have the workers who have enough knowledge to organize digital information. But still, they need to provide digital information on the web, and also they need to enrich their regional information over the web, that they cannot do because of the human resource. And so in the discussion, we agree that we need to have some organization which mutually help the libraries, archives, and museums. So some libraries have a strong, some limited human resources, but they are quite strong, so that we can share their knowledge. And we could have some human resource pool, and so the libraries who have no skills can ask that pool to give us the skills and the knowledge. So we agree that, and we need to work to promote that activity, but that process is quite slow. And so the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication has some infrastructure to organize such activity. So in a sense, that is good news, and that is in my hope. And also, in that discussion, we also agree that the national libraries,
national library should provide information and knowledge to the community. So actually, in Jakarta, they are quite a big organization, but they are a very bureaucratic organization from myself. So the bureaucratic system, the section managers change their position periodically. So that is a big problem. And but still, they have a very big human resource, and we are very much hoping that NDL provide us the skills and also the facilities. And as I mentioned yesterday, the NDL and some other library organizations, libraries are providing their training courses. And that's quite good, I think, from my point of view. And also, we, as a university, sometimes provide a training program, organize a training program. And recently, I not asked to give a talk, but when I give a talk at such opportunities, I had some uncomfortable feeling because what I want to talk is rather cutting-edge topics. And I don't know if this topic is good for librarians working in practice. So, but on the other hand, this topic will become very important 5 years after, 10 years after. So actually, I want to have some bridge between the research and the practice. So I'm hoping that the national libraries or the large organizations of librarians could help us to bridge these two gaps. So actually, I have no working experience in library in my background in computer science. And so I have no actually education experience. I have no training in library science. Actually, I've been working at the library for no education. So like that, we need to have some other bridge. And also, I'd like to introduce an interesting, example in Japan. So recently, a city in Kyushu outsourced the public library to a rental shop company, Tsukaya, which is a very big rental shop company. And they built a new public library, and they are very popular. And they have a public library section, and also I've never been there, but maybe my information is wrong. There's some other service area, so the company knows how to start. So the combination sounds good. And there's another example in Tokyo, and that is organized by the public sector in Tokyo. And in that case, that is the city of Musashi in the west of Tokyo. And they built a building, and in the building, public libraries housing located. And also in the same building, there are some cafeteria-like place where people can get together. So, generally speaking, the libraries don't like to allow the users to drink coffee or tea. Okay, but they allow. Okay. And the building is located close to the train station. And that building, that location, that place, that is named the Musashi place. That is a very popular place for local people. So people come to that building, and sometimes they go to the library, and sometimes go to the cafeteria, and sometimes they get together using the facilities. So the libraries are very lovely. So getting the people close to the library that people and actually the interesting thing is that the manager who organized that facility is not a library. So he knows how to organize that thing, and he knows how to use that. So that is it. I'm a big person. And also last March I organized a workshop at my school, and we invited 4 or 5 of the famous public libraries. So 4 or 5, I think among 3,000. That's a small number of active libraries. So we collected quite many publishers, but on the other hand, it was very successful. On the other hand, I have some strange feeling that we have such a famous library here, so we got many participants. So they are the 5 or 3,000 jumping to another program. Also, yeah, okay, I just talked too much. So anyway, I think the scholars and the researchers and practitioners are big, yeah, and we need to appreciate them to provide a nice training opportunities. And in that sense, I think the national institutions, I hope that national institutions work as a bridge. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your comprehensive suggestion. And we have done running out, only 5 minutes more. It's okay. That's 5 questions.
I think, it's understandable that professional development is necessary to this time. But I think as an educator of collaboration, what we can perhaps do is, the way I feel as a director who runs a lot of ran ASEAN Library for 8 years, the way I feel is that professional development should come either from personal desire, something that they want to buy for themselves. And the other one has to be set somewhat, either by the administration or with the collaboration between the administration and the professional organization or whatsoever, to help steer the kind of skills and knowledge that will be necessary for our librarians or our workforce, either email. So I think that should be some combination. And the way we do is sometimes unfortunate because we keep counting heads, either counting heads, I think the way you is counting the number of hours of attendance. Whereas for us, we count the number of heads that have participated in some professional development programs. So the way we tend to think about it, we have completed the task of professional development because we have fulfilled a certain number of hours, or we have fulfilled a certain number of percentages of our staff who attended professional development. But I think collaboration should come in that sense that the personal part is necessary, but it should not be the only focus of the professional development. And by working together, I think we set up, the kind of either proper preparation for future workforce or, sign up the kind of necessary skills. And again, I think for the ASEAN LIS, I agree that, knowledge sharing is very important, in terms of trying to gather experiences or trying to share what we have encountered during our routine work. And there should be some kind of, mechanism. The discussion group that we set up, when we ran the library is there. But unfortunately, I hope that would be another channel that can be used to share what they have encountered, whether, in here and there. Unfortunately, because maybe that's my fault, because at the beginning when we try to encourage them, to do it, that's very sparingly. So as an administrator, what you do, you put it as an KPI, your personal. So we get a number of postings with very, very few feedback, unfortunately. So we didn't have, I didn't have enough time to correct it, to analyze the feedback. So that's something that I think, hopefully, for example, these are the kind of questions that would help the professional development for the management of, libraries themselves as well, to try to share, what they have come up, what they have tried, whether to well or to no well. So the level of professionals, I think that should be somewhat a little bit more organized, not just for practicing libraries, but also for those who are in management.
Thanks so much. You have complete information about the development of operation and also the necessity of the collaboration and also research. And then if I conclude all the comments on this in Malaysia, Japan, Thailand, and also Philippines, they gave a lot of contribution to the present topic like the professional development. So before I conclude my section, I want to quote some phrases from the wall of the Harvard University Library. If you don't move today, you will run tomorrow. Okay, let's run tomorrow. Thank you so much for